I'm not even exaggerating when I say that every single shred of hope I might have had for a Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton feud is completely gone. Just reduced to atoms after watching this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Just forget about it, man. It's just never happening at this point. Even if it does, it's just not going to be the same. Cause I'm sorry, but Triple H really fumbled this feud. He fumbled the feud before it even started. I mean, that is if it starts, of course, but you get the point. The point is, Triple H has this problem where he does not strike the iron when it's hot. He does not. And I know some of y'all are going to say, well, it can still happen though. Just wait it out. Just let it play out, right? Just let it play out. It can still happen. No, like I said, it's not going to be the same. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's not going to feel like, oh my God, Randy Orton turned heel. It's going to feel like, oh, finally Randy Orton turned heel. Oh, finally we're getting to this feud. Because I'm not going to lie, man. Triple H, he has waited so long to pull the trigger on this feud, on this heel turn, that now it's not even going to feel special when it happens. It's not going to feel like this big emotional moment where Randy Orton turned heel. It's not. It's just going to be like, okay, fine. They finally did it. Wow. After, years and years and years of building it up. And it's not even like it's a slow burn, It's not like they're slowly building it up. They're not building up at all. There's zero progression. It's just been the same things over and over and over and over and over again. Randy Orton looking at the championship. How many times has Randy Orton looked at the championship at this point? Every single week, man. Okay, maybe not every single week, but you get the point. This guy's always looking at the championship, like the way he was looking at that one girl's tits. Like, he's just staring at it. He's eyeing it, basically. Yeah, that's the word. He's eyeing the championship. Like, he's teasing the heel turn. And he has been doing that since Clash of the Castle in 2024. Over a year. It's been a year and a half. There has probably been like 800 moments where Randy Orton has been eyeing Cody Rhodes' championship. Like, get out of here, man. How long are we going to do this for? And this is just absolutely crazy to me because this is the biggest possible story you can have for Cody Rhodes right now, the WWE champion, who in my opinion, you should always be going out of your way to have him be involved in the biggest stories possible. Your WWE champion should always be in these, big time stories that the people actually care about. I mean, I get that he's in the rivalry with Seth Rollins, right now, even though that rivalry sucks, but I'll get to it later. But Cody Rhodes' whole title reign last year, it could have been so much better if they actually pulled the trigger on this whole Randy Orton stuff. Imagine Cody Rhodes had to go through, Kevin Owens turning on him, and Randy Orton turning on him, and, maybe AJ Styles turning on him as well, if that counts. All those people turning on him in the same title reign. Like that right there. That would have been some real stuff. Oh, and John Cena turning on him too at, WrestleMania, on the road to WrestleMania. Like, come on. That would have been a real title reign instead of what we got, where you just wasted like 3 months with Solo Sikoa just to build up Roman Reigns' return. What were you even doing with Cody Rhodes, man? Forget Cody Rhodes. At least he was the WWE champion. At least, he's doing something. But, what about Randy Orton? What the hell are you doing with Randy Orton? This guy's a goddamn legend, man, and he's doing absolutely nothing. You have this big story with him, with Cody Rhodes. That's the biggest possible story you can tell with Randy Orton, and you're not doing anything with him. It's like, okay, fine, you're not going to do the Cody Rhodes feud, at least for now. Then what are you doing with Randy now, huh? What are you doing with him? Absolutely nothing. Because I swear to God, this guy's just relegated to being Cody's friend. That's all he does. Just saving Cody Rhodes from random brawls. Or, he just gets his ass whooped by Drew McIntyre in a random ass SmackDown match. That's all Randy Orton does anymore. That's all he's relegated to. And it's absolutely sickening. Because this guy's a goddamn legend. And he does not get that respect. So yeah, we're going to get to this show and everything Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton did, So let's get into this show. Let's review Friday Night SmackDown, alright? So the show kicks off with, Cody Rhodes, obviously, with a thug. Cincinnati! What do you guys want to talk about? So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I serve as the Oracle for the reigning, defending, undisputed World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins! And anyways, yeah, obviously Paul Heyman just, gets in the ring. Or not really get in the ring. He just gets on the apron and he talks about, the main event match between, Braun and Bronson and Cody and Randy. And then, Paul Heyman, he just says like, oh, I want to talk about Randy Orton. And then we see Randy Orton who gets in the ring because, Braun and Bronson were surrounding the ring and stuff like that. So Randy Orton comes to Cody Rhodes' protection because obviously that's all Randy Orton's relegated to at this point. Just being Cody Rhodes' friend. You got a friend in me because that's all Randy Orton does, man. That's all he does. Just be Cody Rhodes' friend. Oh, Cody, did someone bump into you? Did they bump into you? Did they lay a finger? Oh, I'm gonna get them, don't worry. I'm gonna hit them with an RKO. You stay right here, Cody. I'll take care of this business for you. Because that's all Randy Orton does, man. Just saving Cody Rhodes from brawls, just having Cody Rhodes' back, being his bodyguard. That's pretty much it. That's all he's been doing for the past year or so. Get out of here, man. But anyways, yeah, then Paul Heyman starts to plant some seeds for a Randy Orton heel turn, He says, look, Cody, in the main event match, Braun and Bronson are definitely gonna win. And if it's you that gets pinned, then Randy Orton's gonna look at you and be like, is this your WWE champion? Is this the undisputed champion? And he's gonna be disappointed in you. But if Randy Orton loses, if he takes the pin, then he's gonna ask you, Cody, where were you to save me? And that's like, come on, man. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, clap it up for Paul Heyman, guys. Clap it up for Paul Heyman. Wise man right here. Not being very wise today, huh? So let me get one thing straight. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, after everything they've been through, especially in the past year or so, even the fact that they had a match together where Cody Rhodes cheated to win. Randy Orton got screwed out of the King of the Ring. He got screwed out of a WWE title match at SummerSlam by Cody Rhodes, and he still didn't turn on him. He still shook it off. He still went on the next SmackDown and said, congratulations, Cody. I hope you beat John Cena. That's the kind of guy Randy Orton is. And now you're telling me losing a random-ass match, losing a random-ass SmackDown match to Braun and Bronson is going to be what does it for Randy Orton, huh? That's where Randy Orton draws the line. Losing a match to Braun and Bronson. Get out of here, man. Paul Heyman is just stupid at this point, man. This guy is stupid. This guy is supposed to be this master manipulator. He's 2 steps ahead of everybody. That's why he's called the wise man. He's called a wise man for a reason. But now, man, especially since he joined Seth Rollins, he's just been coming out here just straight up yapping, dude. Just straight up yapping, just spewing a bunch of nonsense that nobody cares about and doesn't make any sort of sense. Get out of here, man. God damn it. So yeah, that was it for this segment, Paul Heyman just leaves, and that's pretty much it. And obviously then backstage, we're gonna, get this segment with Cody and Randy. It's like, hey, Randy, oh my God, are you really gonna turn on me? And Randy's like, no, Cody, no, come on, I'd never do that to you. And Cody's like, oh my God, thank you so much, Randy. I'll always have your back. And Randy's like, yeah, you too, Cody. I'll always have your back too. And that's probably the 800th time that Randy and Cody have said that to one another. How many times are we going to tease this heel turn and then have a backstage segment between them where they squash the beef? They're like, don't worry, we're not going to turn on each other. We're going to have each other's backs. And then Randy Orton's going to leave while looking at, Cody Rhodes' championship. How many times have we done this segment? How many? I've lost count at this point, man. We've been doing the same thing since 2024. Get out of here. Let's just move on. And now it's time for Sami Zayn's US title open challenge. So Sami Zayn comes out, he calls for his opponent, and then we hear Carmelo Hayes' music. And obviously Carmelo Hayes just cuts a promo, a short little promo, saying like, oh yeah, I've got nobody holding me back now. Melodome Miz is gone, it's officially over. So now I'm going to become the US champion. So give me another shot. But then from behind we see the Miz, who hits Melo with a skull-crushing finale. Now here's the thing, I am glad that Melodome Miz is over, but do we really want a Miz and Melo feud? Like, how good is that gonna be? But then again, I will give them the benefit of the doubt because this might mean that Melo is now a babyface, and I can kind of get into that because this could actually help, Carmelo Hayes, get over on the main roster. Because the thing about the WWE crowds in 2025 is that they love a babyface with a catchphrase, and Carmelo Hayes has 2 catchphrases. 1, I am him, and 2, what's that thing called, bro? Oh yeah, when I shoot, I don't miss. So yeah, since this whole era of WWE is just, baby faces with catchphrases getting over really easy, I think this could actually help Carmelo Hayes, and maybe The Miz might actually help with that, I don't know. Because, me personally, I've not liked The Miz for like years at this point, because let's be honest, he hasn't done anything worth even thinking about for the past like 3 years or so, and I'm being generous here. But The Miz is someone I'll never really hate because, I did grow up watching him. So, I obviously have some kind of a bias towards The Miz. And of course, a lot of wrestlers in WWE, they speak very highly of Miz, and his body of work. So maybe, just maybe, The Miz works his magic and gets Carmelo Hayes over somehow. So yeah, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's see where this goes. I'm going to let it play out. But anyways, yeah, after Carmelo Hayes gets knocked out, then we see Aleister Black, who accepts the open challenge. So we get Aleister Black versus Sami Zayn for the US title. Obviously, it's not the most exciting match on paper, but that's just because, the SmackDown mid-card division is not really that deep, it's just whatever. But Here's how I see things, The mid-card champion is going out there, having open challenges, defending his championship every single week, putting on decent to good to great matches every single week. Like, that's a W in my books, I'm not gonna lie. Sami Zayn's US title reign has actually been pretty good. Like, this is actually one of the only good things, if not the only good thing going on in WWE right now. And I'm not saying, oh my god, his reign is so good. Wow, I'm loving it. No, it's not that good. I'm not going to sit here and glaze it, But I'm not going to lie, it's still, it's one of the only things that, that is worth watching pretty much. Because you're pretty much guaranteed to get a good match, So yeah, that's what this match was, Aleister Black versus Sami Zayn. It was a good match, a good TV match. Nothing too crazy. I don't think it was better than Sami versus Javon or Sami versus Rey Fenix, but it was still a good match regardless. Now, me personally, I have no idea what they're doing with Aleister Black. In my opinion, they have fumbled all of their, new signings, like Aleister Black, Rusev, and who else? Rey Fenix, yeah, him too. They fumbled all of their new signings, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I don't really care about what Aleister Black has to do, but yeah, like I said, this was a pretty good match, and I did kind of enjoy it. And obviously, Sami Zayn wins, and how, you might ask, how did Sami Zayn win? Because of a distraction from Damian Priest. And how did Aleister Black get distracted, huh? What did Damian Priest do to distract Aleister Black? What did he do, huh? Did he hit his music? Did he come down the ramp with a steel chair or something? Did he what did he do? What did he do? He was walking. Huh? He was walking around the ring. Are you kidding me? Like, bro, get out of here, man. This is so stupid. Wrestlers are so stupid. It's like you are locked in on your opponent. It's like, oh yeah, I am locked in on my opponent. I'm this close to winning. I can literally win a championship right now at this very second if I just lock in on my opponent for this 1 second. Come on, I gotta lock it. Oh wait, is that a butterfly right there? Like, it's so stupid, man. Why do they get distracted so easy? It's just, well, you know what? Who cares, It's not like this is something new. This has been going on in WWE for decades now. So whatever, I'm not going to talk about this. Obviously, very stupid, but, that way Sami Zayn wins, and, that's pretty much it. Sami Zayn, goes away celebrating, and then Damian Priest hits Aleister Black with a razor's edge, I'm pretty sure, on the announce table. And then we see a backstage segment where Damian Priest challenges Aleister Black to a US title, to a last man standing match next week on SmackDown. Now, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely do not care about this whole rivalry, Me personally, I don't even know how it started. I don't even know what their beef is. I don't know why they're fighting, why they hate each other. I don't know, alright? Even if I did, I don't remember anymore. Because this whole feud is just that damn forgettable. Nobody cares about this. But I am glad that they're at least doing a last man standing match, and maybe at least we get, some kind of a good match out of it next week on SmackDown. And maybe after this, we can move on to some bigger and better stuff with Damian Priest and Aleister Black, Let's do some good stuff with the mid-card division, And speaking of Sami Zayn's US title, open challenges and stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie, the SmackDown mid-card division is not very good. It's very limited. There's not much, matches we can squeeze out of this. But I do hope they, bring in some guys from NXT, for example. Like they brought in Javon Evans last week. You can bring in more guys from NXT. And also, you can even, search deep in the bag and go into the tag division as well. Like you can get into Montez Ford, for example, have him showcase his talent as a singles performer. You can have Montez Ford. You can have Johnny Gargano just go out there and have a takeover style match. That would be amazing. Even Ciampa, dude, screw it. So yeah, I feel like this, whole title reign with Sami Zayn is the perfect opportunity to give some people, some wrestlers, their showcase matches. So yeah, with that being said, let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Sol Ruka and Zarya versus Chelsea Green and Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. I mean, is there really anything to talk about here? Because it's not even like this was a qualifier match for the women's tag titles or anything like that, This was just a random ass, it was an impromptu match, It was pretty much it was an impromptu match. This was made backstage, because of a backstage altercation, pretty much. Like, bro, that's all they've been doing with these, mid-card women on SmackDown. It's so annoying, man. We gotta step through, these random-ass matches just because we have these random-ass backstage altercations. I'm pretty sure Sol Ruka and Zarya were backstage and just minding their own business. And then, Piper Niven. Why do I keep saying Piper Niven, bro? Chelsea Green and Alba Fire came in and they started arguing with them some way, and some stupid stuff. I bet it was some stupid argument that makes no sense whatsoever. And then, Zarya and Sol Ruka would be like, oh yeah, let's settle this in the ring, huh? And then Nick Aldis would come in out of nowhere and be like, ladies, come on, let's settle this in the ring, ladies. And we just get this match. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I don't remember, I usually just erase backstage segments from my memory because of how bad they are. So anyways, yeah, we get this match. Really a nothing burger of a match. There's really nothing to talk about here. But I think it's absolutely stupid that NXT doesn't have their own, women's tag titles, I mean, they did, but then they unified it for some goddamn reason. That's so stupid, man. That is so stupid. I mean, the men have a tag team championships. Why don't the women in NXT have one? Why do they have to compete for the main roster one? Because, just imagine, dude. Just imagine if you're, you're a men's tag team. You're part of a men's tag team starting out in NXT. And the people you have to beat to become the tag team champions in NXT is, who? Hank and Tank? You got to beat Hank and Tank to become tag champions. And then if you're a women's tag team, if you're part of a women's tag team, you're starting out as a women's tag team in NXT, you got to beat Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, 2 former women's champions, to become tag champions. Come on, that makes no sense. You should either, A, have the women's tag teams on NXT not even compete for the main roster tag titles. Just don't even have women's tag teams on NXT pretty much, Or B, just, move the tag titles, the women's tag titles, to NXT itself. Because they're the more women-heavy roster. They could use it a lot more than the random-ass tag teams on the main roster. Or C, just get rid of the titles altogether. I'm not gonna lie. That could really benefit the WWE, man. Because really, this whole women's tag titles has been a failed experiment that was created in 2019, I'm pretty sure, and in its 6-year history hasn't done anything. It hasn't achieved anything. So yeah, in my opinion, if you ask me, just get rid of it. Just retire the championship. It's not gonna do anything. So yeah, with that being said, let's just move on. Obviously, Sol Ruka and Zarya win. Anyways, then we see Tiffany Stratton with the mic, and yeah, let's just move on. Anyways, then we see Rey Fenix and Javon Evans versus LWO. Oh wait, no, not LWO. Los Lotharios or whatever they're called. Los Garza, yeah, Los Garza. So yeah, this was a whatever match, Not bad by any means, but it's I just don't care. I mean, obviously, I don't expect every single match on a Friday Night SmackDown to have this, big story that everybody cares about. I get that we gotta have some, super mid-card stuff here and there. But the problem is, when your whole show is like that, I can't get myself to care about this at all. But yeah, whatever, I guess the idea of having Rey Fenix and Javon Evans team up was pretty cool, because obviously they're 2 great wrestlers, 2 great high-flying wrestlers, whatever, that's pretty much the only takeaway from this whole thing. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Javon Evans and Rey Fenix win. And, I think Javon Evans is probably going to have some more SmackDown appearances here and there. I'm not going to lie, I think he should stay in NXT for a little bit longer. I don't think he's fully main roster ready yet, even though I actually like him a lot. I think Javon Evans is one of my favorites in NXT right now, if not the favorite. But I do think he should spend some more time in NXT. Give him the NXT title, and maybe then you can think about calling him up. Give him an NXT title reign and stuff like that, and then maybe a few months later you can call him back up. So yeah, with that being said, let's just move on. Now it's time for the main event. Braun and Bronson versus Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Now here's the thing. I've said this a million times before. This was not a bad match, but I've seen so many Braun and Bronson matches at this point that everything just seems the same to me, and nothing's just special, Nothing is special. I don't care about anything that Braun and Bronson are doing right now. So yeah, this was just a whatever match, Just whatever, who cares? But anyways, yeah, in the end, Braun Breaker takes out Cody Rhodes, he sends him through the barricade and stuff like that. And Paul Heyman has a referee distracted. And then we see Seth Rollins out of nowhere, who curb stomps Randy Orton. And then, Bronson Reed hits a tsunami on Randy Orton and pins Randy Orton. And then Cody Rhodes gets back in the ring. He's on all fours. He's bending over. He's all arched up for Seth Rollins to lure him in for a curb stomp and stuff like that. And Paul Heyman's like, no, Seth. Don't do this. He's in your head. But then Seth Rollins is like, screw it. Ha ha. I want to go anyways. I want to stomp it anyways. Ha ha. And he just runs into the ring. And he tries to stomp Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes suckered him in. And he hits him with a crossroads. So obviously they're trying to tell the story that, Cody Rhodes is in Seth Rollins' head. Because, Seth Rollins is so caught up with the fact that, he needs to beat Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. And I'm not going to lie. They've been telling that story horribly. I don't have a problem with that story. I don't have a problem with that dynamic, I think that obviously makes sense. But the way they're telling the story is so goddamn horrible. Because in the promos that Seth Rollins has cut with, Cody Rhodes, I'm not feeling that story at all. Because Seth Rollins was going out there on the mic telling Cody Rhodes, hey Cody, what do you think about me, Cody? Why don't you think I'm good enough to lead this company? Why don't you think I'm good enough? Bro, come on, man. These are the kind of promos we were getting. And Cody Rhodes was just like, Seth, you are amazing, Seth. You are one of the best, Seth. Come on, man. What is this rivalry? This sucks. And the worst part is that I heard Michael Cole say, ladies and gentlemen, 1 week from tomorrow. Bro, Crown Jewel is next Saturday? I did not know that. When I learned that, I was like, holy hell, these guys have done such a terrible job building up to this pay-per-view. Oh my god. But anyways, yeah, that's really it. There's really nothing more to talk about here. And like I started off this video with, with the whole Cody and Randy situation, I'm not gonna lie, man. And I think they're just going to continue this for like a few more months. This whole like teasing with Randy Orton eyeing Cody Rhodes' championship, especially now that, Randy Orton got pinned and stuff like that. But really, I don't think they're ever going to lead to anything, man. Even if they do, I think it's just going to be too late. And, none of us are going to care about it anyways. So yeah, with that being said, there's really nothing more to talk about here with this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. I'm going to give this show, a 2 out of 10. Not as bad as the previous shows, but still a pretty bad show, I'm not going to lie. The fact that 2 out of 10 is not bad, The fact that 2 out of 10 is not as bad as the other shows, it's absolutely crazy, man. It just goes to show you how bad SmackDown is on average. So anyways, yeah, that is it for this review. You can catch me tomorrow or, maybe tonight. I'm not sure, I'm not sure when I'm going to record this and post it and stuff like that. But you can catch me at 8 p.m. Saturday, October 4th, live on YouTube on Heels Advocates channel. We're going to be doing a collab. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. I will see you there. So yeah, with that being said, that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next video. Peace out.